All right, so hello, thank you for coming. My name is Dana Baxter. How many people watched my talk on SCOM migration earlier? The jokes are all the same, so I'm sorry. Like, you're just gonna hear like mostly repeat content. So, but I still do have more crappy prizes. So if you didn't get a crappy prize, I see someone excited in the back. There's still opportunity, unfair questions, crappy prizes. It's gonna be great. All right. So my name is Dana Baxter. I work for CSEO, which is the new name for MSIT at Microsoft. So CSEO stands for Core Services, Engineering, and Operations. We have the same function essentially, but they rebranded us, I guess, because you know CSEO is like is new. So there you go. So here is the problem. I think you guys probably all had this problem, right? All right. So I'm old. I've been in ops for a long time. And in the olden days, you know, everything was very controlled. We had an ops team. You had people who deployed servers, people who managed change requests, people who managed incidents. And if you wanted to deploy applications and services, well, you submitted a request and you got some kind of budget approval and somebody built out your server for you, all golden stamped and awesome. And it totally complied with all the security policies, and they give it back to you and they're like, here, go be free, run your application, right? And then Azure happened, and it's chaos, you know. So everybody is just pulling out their American Express card and buying subscriptions and deploying VMs all over the place, and everybody's freaking out. And especially the ops team were like, what do we do about this? Like, we're supposed to be managing security, we're supposed to be managing deployments, like these people are just going nuts. So it really fractured our environment. So we had this one set of people who were in this very controlled environment. They're on-prem stuff. They're getting GPO. They're getting all this stuff. We have admin access to the servers. And then we have all this other stuff going on in Azure where people are spinning up VMs and deploying resources. And, you know, and from the leadership down, they're saying, go deploy, learn, innovate, do cool things. So it's not even like we could really stop them. But at some point, we kind of had to draw a line and figure out, as an operations team, how do you then deploy any corporate policy or standards across your environment? And so, I don't know, does anybody else have, I've talked to some other people today who said that they kind of have the same situation where they have people who are spinning up Azure subscriptions and building out VMs, and they're just doing whatever they want. Does anybody have that going on today? Yeah, okay, so I'm not alone. Yeah, 2 hands, right, all right. Yeah, it's, oh, everybody gets a beer, you know. After this, go over there. So that's the problem. So what we had to think about was the fact that we needed to be able to at least apply security controls across the environment, but we had to do it on things we didn't have access to. Everything was very manual. And so we came up with a toolkit. Has anybody used the AZSK? Yes. Oh, you should get a prize because that's prize-worthy. Fix the battery in there to make it work. All right. So the AZSK, if you don't know what that is, it is a toolkit. We call it glue because it's something that we've put into place in the meantime until Azure natively has these features available. And basically what it is you download this commandlet, you run this PowerShell script, and it will scan your subscription and your resources for about 280 different security controls. So right now, it also deploys 7 Azure policies. So we, in CSEO, we have 753 subscriptions. We have about 18,000 VMs, and that's hybrid, and that's both on-prem and in Azure. And we have about in upwards of 300,000 resources. So we have this now as a mandate that everybody deploys the AZSK. It used to be called AZSDK, and so I get very confused, but they've dropped the D now. So AZSK, and for us, instead of using all 280 of the security controls that the tool is able to scan for, we just have a baseline of 32. Yeah, I had to look at my slide just to make sure. We have 32 that are absolutely required inside our organization. So even if you get this scan, you don't, it's not every single thing. And so we're scanning about 81,000 resources. The problem with this, though, as cool as it is, and as much as it scans, and as much as it checks for, and as all this glorious massive amounts of detail that's given to you in spreadsheets and outputting to log analytics and these dashboards that you can build on top of it, is that it's all manual. When I first found, I was one of the first groups to pilot this tool. I personally have probably installed it 600 to 1,000 times. I don't even know, like I was blind with AZSK. So it's very manual, and so that can give us a lot of problems. And so what we're really excited about is the fact that policy is becoming more popular, and that management groups are going to be a way that we can deploy this. Sorry, I probably should have skipped ahead to this one slide a little sooner. Go ahead and read the slide. I know that that's the thing. You're not supposed to put so many words on the slide, but these are all links to the individual sections inside the AZSK. I would say that the things that I would want to focus on here is there's a group of controls that just checks for subscription security. And that's all secure. That's all subscription level checks that it's doing. The secure development. This is going to give you two things. This is where it's going to check all your resources, and then it also gives you some tools so you can even use it while you're doing development. And then the other thing I would like to focus on is the continuous assurance. So AZSK is something that you could just run one time. You could just download it, run it, kind of see what your baseline is. But if you like the results, if you think that they're valuable to you, which I actually think that you will, then you can set it up to run on a daily basis and output that into your workspace. And so for us, I think that initially our compliance was pretty low, like around 50%. Because we didn't even, people were just doing anything that they wanted to. Like I said, they were just American Express subscription, deploy whatever you want, there you go, call it a day. Nobody was complying with security policy. So this was a really good way at a leadership level for us to be able to assess our security risk and be able to hold people accountable. So the other kind of aspect of all of this change is that IT operations is not really a centralized service anymore. We're really, is DevOps like the newest buzzword ever? Yeah, okay, so we're totally doing DevOps, which basically means that I don't do the work, I enable you to do the work, right? So the AZSK was really helping with that. So we went out, we said, okay, install this on all the subscriptions, and now you're responsible for making sure that your subscription or your service is 95% compliant. And even today with 753 subscriptions, we're about 96%. So it's actually, pretty good. But like I said, everything about AZSK is very manual. The deployment is manual, the enforcement is manual, the reporting is all centralized, it's not creating tickets or doing any auto remediation, and then the remediation is manual. So even though the AZSK does come with some PowerShell code, so that, say it checks for TDE on an Azure SQL DB and you want to turn it on, you just can run the script with a switch and it will enable it for you. Now, that doesn't mean you should, it also will let you bulk fix everything, which I don't recommend. You should totally try it first and then make sure nothing explodes and then go turn it on. But it actually is pretty cool. These are the policies that the AZSK is applying today. And again, these are all opt-in, opt-out. You don't have to do these, but these are the only policies that we're using right now. All our other controls are coming from AZSK. So here's what we're looking forward to. So out of all those 280 controls that AZSK has built inside of it, we've been working with the product group to make it more built in, because our goal always in CSEO is to be as close to native Azure as possible, and AZSK is not native Azure. It's just something that we made. It works very well. It's available to you all, by the way. You can get it on, I think it's github.com/AZSK. I got some links at the end of my slide with more information. But the thing about, so 74 of them are now ready for pilot. And 19 of them came directly from infrastructure. So we have 74 that are coming from AZSK that are security related, and then we have 19 that came from infrastructure. So my particular area of focus is I'm the manageability service manager, so I care about like the monitoring agent being installed on all the VMs, and so we have that coming in as policy. We also have one coming in because we care very much about Azure resource groups being tagged. And so things like infrastructure requirements, especially at a broad level, these 19 are going to be available for built-in, but with policy, you can also have custom. So the 74 that we're rolling out will be custom policies. The other thing is management groups. So does anybody tried management groups? All right, management groups. Maybe I should give away some hand sanitizer. There you go. There's present. So management groups, I'll just be honest, I mean, because they wanted CSEO to present today, they also realize that they have to suffer the fact that we're just another operations team. We're not part of the product group, and we're not always as far along as we'd like to be. So right now we're just piloting management groups. We haven't actually deployed it on any of anything production yet. So these two items under my production management group's adoption are the two things that we're waiting for the product group to release before we move it into production. So the first thing is activity logging. So I don't know, with your experimenting with management groups, if you make a change, it doesn't log it anywhere. You're like, that's not okay. That's not okay. It can't do that. It's not all right. So there's that. And then we need improved RBAC for management groups. So for instance, Aileen up here, she has a subscription, and I want to put her subscription into a scope. She has to give me access to her subscription. And if I'm an admin in both, now I can make anybody here an admin, and that's also not okay. So we're looking for some improvements in those two areas, but in the meantime, we're just going to be piloting it. But the cool thing is that all this stuff is going to be so much better. So the deployment is automated. You just have somebody who manages, like we have a governance team, so people who are engineering policy and management groups, they'll be able to put this out for us. And then the other thing that's really cool, I don't have the demo for this, but they're going to be releasing this week. So they're going to be doing automated remediation or remediation through the portal at the policy level. So when you go in to look at the reports and you see, and personally I haven't seen it, I'm super excited, but I could tell you what I think it's going to look like, and apparently there's a button and you click it and it fixes it, and I'm like, yes, and then you can write scripts around it. So that'll be really helpful. So these are the other two sessions that are coming up. This guy, Joseph Chan, he does this. It's dance party time. Joseph Chan, if you can get to his session, I really, really recommend it, because he's going to go into a lot of detail about how he has this great line. He's talking about how in the early 2000s, when VMs became a thing and everybody could just go in and spin up a VM on a host, and then VMs just got totally out of control. Well, this is kind of like this all over again. It's just a total repeat. So now instead of VMs on hosts everywhere, you got VMs and subscriptions everywhere. And he calls it cloud sprawl. And I really like that word. Anyway, the way he describes it is just perfect. So I really recommend that you go and see at least the first one. Does anybody have any questions? I think I went through that kind of fast. Torian has a microphone, but I don't see him. But yes, if you want to ask a question, I'll just repeat it.
Is there a way of deploying management groups, or the blueprints, or best practices for management groups?
Okay, so how do you deploy management groups and blueprints? So for us right now, at the maturity level of blueprint, is that we feel that it's more relevant for, All right, another buzzword. Do you guys ever call things greenfield and brownfield? All right, so okay, you know what I'm talking about. I just think it's silly. But anyway, so for Blueprint, it's really about greenfield, right? And so we have 753 subscriptions. Why do we need 754? Like, do I really need a Blueprint to create more subscriptions at this point in time? Not really. So for us, we're kind of waiting for more features to come out in Blueprint that will be more brownfield. And then that will be when we start doing more adoption. But right now, my experience and focus is more on management groups. I don't have... Hello? Here.
Best practice will be also enough.
Okay.
So I imagine that there are no blueprints right now, but best practice from your experience.
Yeah.
For example, when you move subscription into a root management group, how do you deal with that?
Yeah. Is it not working?
Mic check, 1 2 1 2.
Okay, so you wanted to know about my experience with best practices with Blueprint. I just have to be honest with you, I don't have any. We're not really using it right now. But what I welcome you to do is if you send me an email on the MS Events site and ask your question, I'll make sure to get you in touch with someone who can actually answer that question. You're going to go to those sessions? Yeah, go to those sessions. They're going to talk more about that. Would you also like some hand sanitizer? Does anybody else have a question? Okay.
How do you roll up the policies dashboard, compliance dashboard over your 750 subscriptions? How do you get a one-up view of everything that's going on?
Right. So if you're talking about, so right now, like I said, we haven't deployed management groups at any scale. We're just piloting it, so I don't have an answer for you for that. But with the AZSK, all the results are put into log analytics. It's output into two places actually. One place it goes is log analytics. The other place that it goes is into blob storage. So you kind of have some choices on what you're going to do with reporting. There's some dashboarding. If you go look at the documentation for AZSK, you'll see that there's some solutions that they provide for you, and you can just use those basic dashboards to get some data out at first, and then or you can build your own, and they have included some queries and stuff in there if you want to improve them.
So the reverse questions on that then is you're not actually using Azure Policy.
Sorry.
You're not using Azure Policy as such for doing compliance.
Not yet. We only have, right now, set the 7, and they're just audits, and we're getting ready to pilot on a small number of servers, well, small, like 500.
You can write your own policies.
What?
You can write your own policies.
You can write your own policies.
Have like 4 types, audit.
Yes. I think there's 5. I can only always remember 3. It's audit, deny, apply if not, allow. Who can do the other 2 for some hand sanitizer? Does anybody know? Anybody know the other 2? Audit, deny, if not exist. There's got to be one more. I got a pen with a laser. Anyone? We can't remember as a group. I can't remember. All right, nobody gets the pen. My particular team, we're called Cloud MS. And we have our own stuff. So like we have all the subscriptions that hold all the hosts and monitor the infrastructure. And so we're going to be deploying those 74 policies plus the 19 just against our Cloud MS subscriptions. So I'll have a better answer for you in some period of time after we've actually had a chance to try it out. But that's the idea. It's the goal.
I think just is there a way that we can communicate via mail, or will you be in this custom workshop with log analytics? Because I have some special question regarding OMS.
Yeah.
Will you be there on Friday?
On Friday, yeah, just send me email on the event site. Okay.
I need your address.
Okay. I think that's pretty much it, you guys. You should go have a beer, have some fun. If you have any more questions. The other thing I just wanted to mention really quick is that there's a lot of people on my team who know a whole lot more than I do. So if you'd like to set up some time with the operations teams, just go to Showcase and request an engagement, and then tell them what kind of engagement you want to have. You won't be directed to salespeople, you can just talk to other people in IT. So that's about it. So let me know if you have any questions, and thanks for coming, even though it's so late.